Picking one game can help you grow, but if you stop enjoying what you stream, that growth can start feeling pretty empty. Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome back to Creator Conversations, the series where I sit down and talk honestly about streaming, content creation, growth, and everything that comes with trying to build something online. And in this episode, I want to talk about something that I think a lot of small streamers end up asking themselves at some point. That's should small streamers stick to one game? Because this is one of those topics where you hear a lot of strong opinions. Some people will tell you that if you want to grow, you need to pick one game, stay in one lane, build your audience there, and not move away from it. And other people will say that you should just play whatever you want, have fun, and not worry too much about the numbers. And honestly, I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. Because personally, I don't think you should force yourself to stick to one game if it makes streaming less enjoyable to you. I think you should play what you enjoy, because if you enjoy your stream, then people will feel that. Your energy will be better, you'll be more engaged, you're more natural, and just overall more entertaining. And I think that matters a lot more than people sometimes realize. If you're forcing yourself to stream something just because it looks like the smart choice, but you're bored, disconnected, or clearly not enjoying it, then that usually comes across as well. And I think that's where people can get themselves a bit stuck. They start asking what game will grow them the fastest, what game gives them the best numbers, what game is most likely to help them build an audience. And I understand why they're asking those, because if you're a small streamer and you care about growth, I think it makes sense to think that way. But I also think it's dangerous if you only think that way, because streaming is still meant to be something you enjoy. And if you strip all of that out and turn it into nothing but strategy, I think you lose something important. For me personally, I didn't start out expecting to become a farming simulator streamer. That honestly wasn't the plan. I was playing multiple games before that, and I wasn't fully tied to one thing, and I was still figuring out what worked, what I enjoyed, and what people were responding to. But over time, Farming Simulator became the game that gave me the most numbers, the most interaction, and the strongest response from my community. It became my most requested game. It became the game that people knew me for more than anything else. And if I'm honest, that happened a bit by accident. It was kind of a happy accident. I didn't sit there and decide, right, I'm going to make this my niche no matter what. It just naturally became the thing that clicked best. And because I actually enjoy the game and my community enjoys watching me play it, it made sense for that to become the main thing on my channel. That's why I think this conversation is a bit more nuanced than people make it sound. Because I don't think the answer is that every small streamer should stick to one game no matter what. But I do think that once you find your niche, it's probably a good idea not to deviate from it too much. And I think that's an important difference. To me, there's a difference between being completely random and being flexible within a clear identity. I still play other games from time to time. If I feel like it, I will play something else. I don't think that's a bad thing to do, but I don't think you have to lock yourself in so tightly that you can never touch another game again. But I do predominantly play Farming Simulator because that's the niche I found myself in. That's what my community has grown around. That's what people respond to the best. And that's where things feel the strongest. And I think once you discover that, there's value in respecting it. Because a niche does matter. They help people understand what your channel is. They help people know what to expect. They help give your content some kind of identity. And especially as a small streamer, I think identity matters a lot. If people can't really tell what your stream is, what kind of experience you're going to offer, or what they're coming back for, it can be hard to build momentum. Whereas if there's a clear link between you, your content, and the type of game or style you're known for, that can make it easier for people to stick around. So I do understand why niching down is so often the good advice. I just don't think it should come at the cost of all enjoyment. Because again, if you're miserable in your own content, that's not really a win. And I think some streamers end up in that situation because they confuse finding a niche with trapping themselves. Those are not the same thing. Finding a niche is useful, feeling trapped by a niche is not. I think the goal should be to find the space where what you enjoy and what your audience responds to actually meet. That's the sweet spot. That's what happened for me with Farming Simulator. It wasn't this super planned out move. It was more that I enjoyed the game, people enjoyed watching it, the numbers were stronger, the interaction was better, and over time it just made sense for that to become the main thing. That's very different from forcing a niche that you don't actually care about, and I think that's what smaller streamers need to be careful of. Because if you chase a niche purely because it looks like the best growth move, but you don't really enjoy it, you might grow something that doesn't even feel like you. And then what? You've built an audience around something you don't even want to keep doing. That's not a great place to be, in my opinion, because you either keep doing something you don't enjoy or you change later and feel like you're risking everything that you've built. That's why I still believe enjoyment has to be the thing that matters. I think your content should be built around something you can genuinely keep showing up for. Something you can stay interested in, something you can bring energy to, something that actually feels fun more often than not. Because that sustainability matters. And I think that's why my answer to this question is basically this. No, I don't think small streamers should feel like they have to stick to one game. But I do think once you naturally find the game or style or niche that really works for you and your community, you shouldn't ignore that either. You don't have to become a total variety streamer if every time you leave your main game, everything drops off and the stream feels disconnected. And you also don't have to completely ban yourself from ever playing anything again. I think there's a healthy middle ground. Play what you enjoy, pay attention to what works, notice what your community connects with. And when you find that niche, let it guide the channel without letting it completely control you. That to me is the balance. Because I think a lot of streamers are either too rigid or too loose with this. Some people lock themselves into one game too early and make streaming feel restrictive. Other people jump around so much that they never really give their channel a chance to build a clear identity. I think both of those can be a problem, especially when you're small, because when you're still growing, people are learning who you are. They're learning what to expect from your stream. They're learning what kind of community you're building. And if that changes too wildly all of the time, it can be harder for people to connect with. That doesn't mean you can't evolve. It doesn't mean you can't change, and it doesn't mean you can't test things out. It just means there's value in some consistency. And I think that's where Farming Simulator has ended up being such a good fit for me. Not because I decided one day that this was definitely going to be my thing, but because over time it naturally became the thing that felt right. It gave me the strongest response, it gave me the best numbers, it gave me the best interaction, and most importantly, I actually enjoy it. Because my community enjoys it too, it works. That's why I'd call it a happy accident more than some perfect strategy. I think that's worth saying because not every niche has to be some master plan. Sometimes you just keep showing up, keep testing things, and eventually something will click. And when it does, that's usually worth paying attention to. So if you're a small streamer and you're trying to figure out whether you should stick to one game, I'd say this. Don't force yourself into one game just because you think you're supposed to. But also don't ignore the signs when a certain game is clearly becoming your lane. If there's a game that your community loves, that gives you better interaction, that brings better numbers, and you genuinely enjoy, then that's probably telling you something. And there's nothing wrong with leaning into that. You can still mix it up sometimes, and you can still play other games from time to time. You can still be a person with different interests, but having a clear main game or niche can be a really good thing, especially when you're trying to grow, because it gives your channel shape. Before I finish the video, I just want to quickly mention that we're currently raising money for Epilepsy Society. If you'd like to support that, the donation link is in the description. 90% of donations through that link will go to the charity. And if you donate through the Twitch fundraiser, 100% will go directly to them. And if you want to keep up with everything I'm doing, make sure to follow me across my social media Follow me on Twitch for the live streams and join my Discord as well so that you can keep up with the community, stream updates, and future content. All of the links are down below. And if you enjoy this episode, let me know what topic you want me to talk about next. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.